Welcome to Dating in Your 40s. For privacy purposes, we are not using our real names. So I am this James.
And I'm Jessica.
So I just got out of a relationship. I am 40 years old, and Jessica,
I've been single for 3 years and dating,
but you are a serial dater. Let's
if you want to call it that. See, like
yes.
I have so many different
You are absolutely a
things on
serial
that.
dater.
You think
You
so?
you've been on like what over 300 dates in the
Sure.
past 3 years. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. I'm a week into dating. Like the last time I dated was pre-dating apps. So
Right.
like jumping into them, it's a bit weird. We're gonna talk about what that's like from both perspectives, right? From someone who's been doing it for so long, and then someone who's brand new. So I'll start.
Okay.
So just getting out of a relationship, it's a little intimidating getting on all the dating apps. But I will say this: it's not at all what I expected. Dating in your 40s, like, you kind of feel like I'm not gonna lie, like I felt like a bit of a loser. I'm like, I'm single, I'm 40, like what, like, all the good ones are kind of gone, so to speak. But then you go on these dating apps and you realize there's a lot of hot women. There is a lot of interesting stories. And I think the biggest fear is like the baggage part, right? It's like, what am I dealing with? Like, am I gonna run into women with like 6 kids and like like in some sort of crazy like battle with their exes? And you do run into some of that stuff. There's also like women that they don't have kids and they're in great shape, and some of them actually look like a lot hotter than like younger, like when I was dating in my like early 20s. And so there is hope out there. So I just want to like put that out there for anyone who's like thinking about like maybe leaving a relationship, who's like, or maybe a little bit nervous about like getting or dating at this age. It's a jungle out there for sure, but yeah, and I will get into some personal experiences for my first week into online dating. But I will say this: the one thing that I don't like is it's like dating. Everyone has ADD, so everyone's talking to a million different people at once, and it's a little weird and annoying because you're having like half conversations. It's like, hey, like how are you? How was your day? And then the other person will be like, oh, my day was great. How was yours? And like 3 hours will go by, and then it's like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like the conversations kind of fizzle out. And even talking to like some of these women, like I had candid discussions. Like this one woman was like, yeah, like every guy just wants to fuck me, and like that's why I never go on dates. Like it's just the conversations fizzle out because like it's like I can tell they're talking to like multiple people at the same time. Like from your experience, like you're like the expert because you've been doing this for so long. How do you navigate that? Like the whole like talking to like are you talking to like multiple people at the same time? Like what is your approach?
I mean, there's so many different factors that go into it. I usually have like some questions that really are going to make it or break it right off the bat. One is, how far do we live from each other? And if there's kids involved, what does your schedule look like? What is your working schedule like? Stuff like that. I'm a single mom, so I have weekends free. I have my daughter during the week, so it's very hard to just try to get. So those are like my first initial questions, and then after that, there's you usually, like you said, you get the very basic, like, how was your day, like how are things. People don't very
Put in the effort.
yeah, they
Yeah.
don't really put in the
And
effort.
I should say this, like this is our second date, which is kind of it's crazy to me. Okay, you're actually the first woman that I swiped right on. It was on Hinge, which is an app that let's talk about that. You like Hinge, and like I'm just kind of trying them all. And Hinge, I was like, like I have a type, like I like short, hot blondes, and you were exactly that. And so I was just so shocked. I was like, oh my god, like the first person that I swiped on is this like really cute, short, hot blonde, and you did have a kid, and I've never dated with someone with a kid before, but then I will say this, like being 40, like I expect people to have baggage, and I'm at a point in my life where I never had kids. I always told myself I didn't want kids, but now that I'm a little bit older, I'm like, maybe that's part of my life. I feel like there's maybe something missing, so I'm okay with the fact that you have a kid. I actually think it might actually be a good thing. Like, for me, as like someone who doesn't have kids, to have like a little youth running around, a little goob. But maybe talk about, like you like have a lot of guards up, right? Because you've been dating so many people. Take us through for you to go on a date with a guy, like what has to happen in order for that to actually occur.
Right away, like, I'd like to jump on a video chat, to be honest with you. Like, if I don't do a video chat, I don't really have any interest in meeting somebody. I want to see, first of all, if they really are who they say they are, if their pictures look like them. And just, do we have the back and forth? Because I don't really want to go out and spend time with somebody. My time is very precious. I don't want to spend time getting to know somebody that I have no interest in.
100% agree. Like I think once you cross that 40 mark, it's like I don't have time for anything. Like fuck that. I have no room for bullshit. I have no time for it, right? Like it's like we talked about, like men, we have the average life of a man is like it's shorter than a woman, right? So and at 40, it's like you're half. It's a morbid thought, but your foot is halfway in the grave, and like I hate thinking about it, but it is something that is very much real, right? Like we don't have a lot of time on this earth, period. But especially at this age, like you got to kind of like date people that you could potentially see a future with. I'm not saying like like every date you go on, it's like this is gonna be your fucking soulmate or your wife, someone that you're gonna have kids with, but you have to see at least a potential of a future.
Absolutely.
That's my ground rule. It's like if I'm not gonna go on dates, like it's not how to score on spring break anymore. That was maybe in my early 20s. Now it's like at that 40 age, I'm like I'm looking. I don't want to force anything, but I'm absolutely looking for like someone that I could potentially have a life with, right? Like that is like I think at this age, um, I would assume that all guys would want that, but you have a different perspective.
I totally have a different perspective.
So we're gonna talk about fuckboys, right? Like this is in their 40s, which I think it's bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. So, more times than not, I want to say most people, I don't think they really know what they want, to be honest with you. And
Even at this age.
even at this age, yeah, like it's really crazy. Like that's one of the things that I actually really did want to talk about is like there's a lot of people on the websites that I don't think they are really ready for dating. Like
At 40?
at 40, yeah, at 40, whether it's they're not healed yet or they start dating not really realizing that they're ready to put in a commitment to something, even if they did meet, let's just say, like a great person or the one. They're not there yet. They haven't done the work. They haven't taken the time for themselves.
I just feel like at this age, like you've been through it all. Like you've done the relationships. Like you should know what you want at this point. And if you don't, that's kind of fucking scary, if I'm being honest with you. Because, like the idea of just like sleeping around, like you want like substance at this point, right? Again, that age-long question. It's like you don't have a lot of time left. You want someone who you can like kind of like it doesn't have to be right away. Something I'm not saying like date someone and then settle down, immediately marry them, have kids, but I think that potential needs to be there. And for those guys that don't want that, I just find that very strange at this age because like we're not fucking kids anymore. You know what I mean? Like this is not spring break. This is like the rest of your life we're talking about. This is kind of interesting. So though some of the women that I'm talking to, they are so jaded by men. So they assume the worst of you. They're like, oh, like this woman was, she was, very beautiful woman. She worked in corporate finance. She's like, oh, you just got out of a relationship. Like I know you're not ready for something right now. Like you want to like play the field, sleep around. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, like you're kind of judging this book by its cover. Like just because I'm fresh out of a relationship doesn't mean I'm emotionally unavailable. Like I am very much like looking for like a partner, like a long lasting, meaningful relationship at this age, of course. But, obviously I'm not going to force anything. So there might be like that, initial, maybe I date someone for a little while, we sleep together and it doesn't work out, and that's okay. But that's dating in general. Like you got to take that risk. Like even if you are looking for like a long-term relationship, you have to kind of like, you know, go get your machete and slash some bushes before you get to your destination. Like that's just life. So like you have your guard up, but you have dated, like you've been in relationships.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of relationships over the 3 years, but to be honest with you, most people don't make it past the video chat, let alone a first date.
Right.
So the biggest thing for me is consistency, right? So consistency with communication and stuff like that. People fall off very quickly, and like I'm sorry, but like just to sit there to say like, oh, I had a really busy day yesterday, that's why I didn't talk to you all day, or like whatever. I'm like, unless your grandma's dying in the hospital or whatever, like I don't
Right.
know how you don't have 10 seconds to say like, hey, what's up? So
And assuming that guy's probably like talking to somebody else,
oh,
or like 100%.
110%.
And so like I think that's fair to assume like everybody's talking to a million different people at the same time. So like there is that. That's like I think the challenge of like the modern dating world. Like back in the day, it was like you meet a girl at a bar, you go up to her, you have a conversation, and it's just you one on one. And that experience now is like so rare because to even get to the date, you need to go through all this bullshit of like some people putting in half effort, some people putting in no effort, some people lying about their photos, like they look completely different, like these photos are from 20 years ago. I'm going to talk about one of those experiences being completely new. So I call her the hottie police officer because she was my type, short, blonde, blue eyes, like she was hot. And, you know, we'd message each other, and I was like, oh, this woman is like, she's cute. She's got like all of the my type features. And she's like, oh, like, what do you do for a living? And I told her, I work in finance. Like, this is my, like, I'm whatever. Like, I kind of like, I'm an open book about who I am. I'm like, this is what I do. And she's like, I work for law enforcement. And then for a second, I got like, I was like, wait a second, are you a cop? Like, I got kind of like excited about that fact. And she's like, yes, I'm a cop. And I was like, oh my God, hottie police officer, right? Like, in what world, like, would I, like, as a guy who got out of a relationship, like, is this a possibility? Like, I love The Rookie. That is one of my favorite shows. And I'm like, is is this a possibility for my life right now? Like, being in an episode of The Rookie, but in real life, worrying about her when she gets off her shift, like all those sort of things. And part of me was like, that's kind of hot. Not to mention, like, if I came at her, she could tackle my ass and like throw me to the fucking floor. That's also kind of sexy. And so we started chatting a bit, and she asked me to send her a gym selfie. So like, like I'm on the treadmill. I sent her a gym selfie, and there was like a long pause, and I'm like, fuck, like, that's not good. Like, when there's like, you get the read receipts on WhatsApp, like, they've seen the picture, and then there's like a pause. I'm like, all right, well, this is over. I mean, once there's the pause there, I feel like that's it. It's like, you send someone a selfie and the response is pause, then without that immediate response, it's like, for me, like, that's an immediate, like, this is not going to work out. And I want to ask you about that, because I feel like the attraction has to be so powerful off the beginning that you need that immediate response, right? Because like, otherwise, it's like, what's the point? We call it the ick, right? So if you get an ick by someone's, like, by exchanging photos, probably not a good sign, right?
Agreed. Yeah, there definitely has to be that attraction there. There has been times where I talk to a guy and he does give me the ick very quickly, and I'm gonna be really. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, okay, so what I did then is,
Yeah.
I'm like selfies. Like, I think I'm a terrible selfie picture taker. I know that, right? It's like, there's like a skill set. You got higher angle, lights, like, whatever. I was at the gym. I was on a fucking treadmill. I'm sweating. Like, it's not a good selfie. I'll show it to you. But so I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna send this. She's a cop. She's probably got all my information anyway. She probably do like a fucking background search, even though she actually did say like she can't do that because they monitor that stuff. And so I sent her like my LinkedIn and my Instagram. Like, just here's my information. Like, be blunt with me. Take a look at my shit and tell me if, like, it's like I'm an open book. Read a couple pages, and if you're like, I don't like this guy for whatever reason, just like tell me. Like, be very blunt with me. And then so I sent her that stuff. Like, continue on my run. After my run, I get a response. She's like, oh my God, like, you're cute. Like, you look really good. I'm like, there was a bit of a hesitation. She's like, no hesitation. She's like, there was no hesitation. Like, you're being a silly goose. And I was like, all right. So we started talking again. And then out of the blue, she's like, you know what? I don't think we're a good match. And then she unmatched me on Hinge. So I can't show you her Hinge photos. She did look cuter in her Hinge photos, but she also sent me a selfie, and she was in her police gear, and she's wearing like a fucking vest, like a bulletproof vest, and like a hat on, and she looked a little bit bigger, and my response was cute, which I know is not a good response. You know what I mean? It's like almost like the same as a hesitation. If someone sends you like a sexy like selfie, or what they think is a sexy selfie, and your response is cute, it's not a good sign. So I think she also picked up on that, and I don't know if I have no idea why she said this isn't going to work out, because like, I did want to maybe explore what that would be like, because I'll tell you this, like, the idea of dating a cop, it's kind of hot for those reasons that we already talked about. But then I started realizing, so she sent me that selfie, and like, I did have like a little bit of like, oh, like, she's a little bit bigger, and like, I did get a bit of an ick. And then I realized after the fact, after thinking about it, that I was more attracted to the uniform than the actual person. So I'm actually like, usually in those cases, like, I kind of want to know. I'm like, what was it that like, made you like not want to pursue this? But I didn't even ask, and it was kind of like, it was almost like a relief. And it's like, do I really want to be dating a cop? That's like another thing. You had some insights about this on our train ride over here. Cops, dating them. You know a lot of male cops. What would you say? And obviously it's different because she's a female, but
Absolutely. So, just for me and my experience with some of my friends and some other things, I've actually been on dates with cops before. I would not date a cop. I wouldn't date a cop because, for one, they work crazy hours. And for two, just even like my friends that are cops have told me straight out, do not date cops. There's a lot of cops that are cheaters, and there's a lot of cops that are just, they're emotionally checked out. They have to deal with so much. in their job day to day that they can't really,
It's like,
give
sweetheart,
that.
how was your day? Somebody tried to stab me, someone tried to shoot me,
Yeah,
But
something
but
like that.
did the spaghetti turn out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like, yeah, a little bit, maybe a little bit hectic, maybe dating someone like
Yeah.
that. But I guess, yeah, for like people who are not sure about what dating is like in their 40s, like, you have like the best perspective because you've done so much of it. Um, like, just as a blanket statement. So if I was a stranger to you on a train and I said, um, like, what's it like? Like,
Oh wow, that's a
I
loaded
know it's a broad
question. That's
question.
a very broad question. Um, I think the biggest thing that I have to say is you have to go in with an open mind. You really got to try some things, and and find your boundaries. You need to figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. Once again, we'll go back to my favorite questions, the scheduling, stuff like that. Like, I didn't learn all that stuff until like I talked to and dated many people.
Right.
So and when I say, just so I want to make this clear with the serial dating thing, it's not, I wouldn't really necessarily say I'm a serial
Oh,
dater,
you're
because
definitely a serial dater. I'm sorry.
I when I say that, like, it's just that I talked to over 300 guys. It's not that I actually went out with all of them, but
Okay, fine, but can I say that
yeah.
that was also like kind of like a turn on for me because it's almost like I want to be like the guy who like it makes it through because you have a very large barrier up because you dated so many men. So I'm like I kind of want to be like the guy that like actually breaks through. It's like a challenge. Like I'm a very competitive person, but in your all of your dates, like let's get into like some of your like horror stories, right?
Oh.
So like you were telling me one about a guy that you met. You met him on a bench and he was just
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, so I think I was on Hinge, and I saw this guy. He was a Latino guy, and he had old pictures, and I knew they were old pictures, but generally speaking, so I'm going to be a little bit biased here. Latino men usually are pretty good looking. So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I'll go for a walk with this guy. He was totally down for going for a walk, and it didn't take any effort for me to do anything. So I was like, come down to my area, and I got him to meet me at the plaza, and I see this guy sitting on a bench, and I was like, oh God, please tell me that that's not the guy. And I was getting closer and closer to the guy, and there's nobody else there, so obviously it had to be him. But he was very overweight, bald, had very long fingernails, and one of the first things he asked me, which I found really shocking because I've never had this happen to me before, was, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And he proceeded to talk to me about his beliefs on the other world, and it was actually a little bit scary. Like, I was like, "Oh my God, what kind of person am I going to be going for a walk with?" And we were actually going to walk through like a forest area, so I
that
was,
sounds terrifying.
yeah, I was a little bit creeped out.
Guys, so like no to guys out there, just leave the paranormal discussion like for your friends back home, all right? Don't bring it out if you're into that sort of thing. That is a wild, like first date experience. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what game somebody thinks like that would be like a good thing to talk about, ghosts on a first date. And honestly, on like the first fucking 10 dates, like that's a weird thing to bring up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's why now I always do video chats first.
That
So
that's
that
actually
was,
a great tip. The video
mhm.
chat, right? It's like, and see, here's the thing that I'm telling you, I'm sending these selfies to like a woman asks for a selfie, I'm gonna send it to them, and like part of me is like I feel like we should talk about rejection. I'm not phased by that at all. I'm like, I kind of want to just cut through the bullshit. I'm like, I want you to see me at my worst. If you're not attracted to me at my worst, this is not going to work out. I'd rather do that than like 3 dates in, you looking at me like whether it's in bed or like like a day that I'm tired and be like, I don't fucking like this guy. Just cut through the bullshit. Like send your selfies. Like stop trying to like hit every angle of perfect lighting. In my opinion, what do you think about that?
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree. Like, if somebody was like, send me a selfie, and I was in the middle of washing my hair, I can actually show you some of the selfies.
That's what I
I don't
mean.
I don't care.
But
I'll just send it.
it's so great to do that because you're like, hey, like I'm not, I don't look like a fuck. Like, you look, by the way, you are very attractive.
Thank you.
But at the same time, like there's gonna be times where like yeah, like you're doing dishes, like you're putting your daughter to bed, you're on no sleep. To me, like as like that's what I want to see because that is like you at your worst, and like I feel like for relationships to even have a chance, the attraction needs to be there in all those different lightings, different like I'm tired, you look great. You also look a little bit tired. Like to me, like that's real.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm all about like, so all my pictures, like you're like, yo, your pictures were just okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So fair enough. But you know what? Like I could have went back and got pictures from like years ago where like, I look better, or I was on a beach or something. But I was like, no, I'm gonna pick the most recent pictures because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to like. I feel like, and girls do this a lot. Well, I think it goes both ways, but it's like they're posting pictures from like years ago. And it's like, what is the point of that? Like we're eventually going to meet and we're going to see each other for who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Why try to like hide behind this like former like facade of yourself? Like we all change. Like we're basically a piece of fruit, right? Like we're decaying with age, It's like own whatever stage of life that you're in.
For sure, for sure. I have a question for you actually, just because you're on the other side of this. So I've noticed, so before when I first started a long, long time ago, I would kind of see the first picture and I might just swipe from the first picture. This is a long time ago. And I've noticed now that if you continue scrolling down, the pictures, like you said, like usually the first picture is like the best picture. And then as you scroll down, it's like they're either getting older or bigger. I don't know if that happens to you, but that
Yes,
happens.
it
Yeah.
totally does.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know what, another thing is frustrating from like a guy's perspective, like a lot of girls like tend to take a photo with a group of girls
Mm.
and not to be like an asshole, but usually like the better looking one that's not them in the photo. But like you're thinking, "Oh my God, like this woman is beautiful." But then you scroll down and realize, "Oh, she's the ugly one, or she's like not the attractive one." Don't do that. Why do girls do that? It's like especially believe me, I growing up, like we had our I won't name his name, but we had a really attractive guy, and we hated going out with him because he would get all the girls. I have some hilarious stories about how he would just swoop in and steal any girl that was remotely interested in me. Like he would, they just wanted to go after him. So obviously, like I'm not going to post a photo with him because like I feel like that would just like you don't want to. I don't want to be shown up in a photo by someone who's more attractive than me. You know what I mean? That's why it's like go solo or keep those photos with your less attractive friends.
I get it. I
Agreed?
get it. Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't for my profile, I mean I saw pictures of me, so I don't know. I don't get a lot of men that have a lot of photos with their
I think it's
friends
more of a
per
girl
se.
thing.
I definitely want to
Yeah.
say it's a girl thing.
Yeah.
The one thing that I can say about men though is I'm not really too sure why guys think that it's attractive to post pictures of them fishing. I don't want to know how big the last fish was that you caught.
Maybe it's like a manly thing. Like I can
Maybe.
hunt for you. I can hunt and gather.
Oh, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Goes back to like caveman times. Like I can build you a fire. I can provide for you.
Mhm.
Maybe that's the
Mhm.
thought. I mean, I think fishing is like I don't fish. I have no interest in fishing. I think that's a bit of a weird thing. No girls. I've never seen a woman. Actually, that's not true. I actually have seen women with fish in their hands.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And I gotta be honest, it does nothing for me. If anything, it's a turn off. I agree with you. No fish. Like, stop with the fishing.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
get that one.
it's okay to be outdoorsy. That's sexy. But like, be sexy outdoorsy. Post a picture of yourself in some Spanx, like running through a trail. Like that to me is really hot. A woman that takes care of themselves, especially at this age,
Yeah.
that is so sexy for me. I think like it's so hard to like maintain a body at this age that so women, especially women older than like in their you see women in their 50s and their late 40s, and you're like, oh my God, like this woman is like working hard to keep herself in shape, and to me that I find that very very sexy. But the fishing thing, no. Like let's just please everybody. This is like a message to dating at all ages. Stop posting pictures with fucking fish in your hand and fishing rods. Like it does nothing for anybody. Unless I guess maybe unless you're into that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I have a question for you. So originally you asked me what kind of questions do you initially ask? So now that you've, dabbled a little bit, what are the initial questions that you ask?
To be honest with you, I haven't, because I'm so new to it, I don't really have like an established questions list.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm trying to do is talk to people that seem interesting and that
Mhm.
are obviously very attractive, right? Like that to me is like a big thing. Like physical attraction has to be like big off the get go, because otherwise, like I ask this question to myself: would I want to fuck this person 5 to 10 years from now? And if the answer is yes, then I'm interested. You know what I mean? Like I think the want has to be very strong, which is why, like, when I swiped on you, I'm like, oh my God, like this short hot blonde, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like first swipe. I'm like, okay, dating in your 40s actually isn't that bad. Like this, but like you were obviously like a unicorn amongst like the thousands of fucking, well, hundreds or whatever. I'm fairly new to online dating, but like there is a lot of attractive women out there, but there's also, it comes with like a lot of women that are just not my cup of tea. And you do find that in your 40s, it's like more so that way. But I will say on Hinge, there's way more attractive women on Hinge than I found on like Tinder or like Bumble or like I did sign up for like Plenty of Fish because like it's like the classic one that everyone used to use back in the day. Those are all terrible now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody uses them. And then on Tinder, it's like a bunch of bots. I found like it's like you match with some like beautiful girl that like you probably in the back of your head you think is fake, and then it's like if we match, like look at my OnlyFans or whatever the fuck it is, like like the scam thing going on. And that's another thing we should talk about. There is a lot of scams out there, so you got to be careful.
There is a lot of scams out there. So crazy enough that you said that. So that's one of the things I definitely look at is the pictures. So if the pictures look like very AI or like just like too nice or too good, I'll still swipe. But I want to tell you this really funny story actually. So there was this guy, very very attractive guy. Like you could clearly see he worked out. I think there might even been a couple of gym pictures. Right off the bat, he was extremely attentive, like very good with communication, just asking me how my daughter was, like just asking questions that generally speaking men don't ask. And like this continued on for a while, and I was always like, well, like why don't we meet, like why don't and he would send me pictures like randomly here and there, and I'd always be like, oh, send me a selfie, and he'd be like, okay, give me half an hour or whatever. Like there'd always be a time limit on it, right? So one day he had the balls to ask me about if I would invest in not Bitcoin. What's that other one? Crypto. Crypto.
Well,
So
crypto is Bitcoin is crypto.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Crypto is just like the general terms,
right?
Like of But yes.
Yeah. So he was asking me if I would ever do crypto, and I was like,
If anybody ever asked me that in like the first like I have to be in like a relationship for someone to talk about financial stuff.
Right.
If they bring that up, that's obviously like that's for me, like I'm like I consider myself like a pretty smart guy. Like I'd be like I'd be done with that person immediately. You asked me about cryptocurrency like in the first like whatever like 10 days of chatting with you, then like obviously to me like you're a scam artist, right?
Yeah, you would think that. So I mean, I'll talk a little bit more about that after, but so I'm talking to this guy. He's asking me about crypto. He's like, he's extremely successful doing crypto. He also had another job. I can't remember what it was, but whatever. So, but he's like, I'd love to teach you and this and that, whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, listen, I threw it out there pretty like point blank. I was like, listen, if I don't see where you're living and like all this stuff, like actually physically go see it, and like we're in a relationship and I'm seeing how great you're doing, I would never, invest in something like that. Of course. Anyway, so we continue talking, and I'm like, let's meet. And all the time he was not really, there's always some excuse. And then finally I was like, you know what? Let's just do a video chat. And he was like, for the longest time, he always had an excuse. And finally one day he actually did. And this is going to blow your mind. He was legitimately an African guy. Legit. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to people and whatever? And he's like, no, everything I said to you was true. And I really do.
So
I care about you.
He didn't look
lot.
like he did in the pictures.
He was an African guy. This guy. So the guy from the pictures was like a Polish guy. Right? It was crazy.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so after
so what was his answer? Why was he doing this? Why was he was basically a catfish?
He was totally a catfish.
So but why did he have a reason?
He had no answer. He had no answer other than, I didn't think that a woman like you would like me.
You know what's so funny about that? It's like, what is so this guy's putting in a lot of effort, right? Like he's like texting you, he's like sending you selfies, right? Calling you.
Yeah.
All for a lie. So like people do that. I don't know why they do it. It's like maybe it's like a mental issue type of thing. But like you do have to be careful with that, right? Like you have to have your guard up.
Absolutely.
And not even like I don't think you would ever fall for one of those scams, but it's just a giant fucking time waster, right? Like you're wasting your time is currency. In my eyes at 40, I'm like time is currency. Like that's why I'm very blunt. I'm like, look at my shit, look at my pictures. I will do a video chat at any time, anywhere. I don't care what the lighting circumstances are. If you like me, great. If not, tell me. And feel free to tell exactly why. You could say, you know what, you look like shit. And I'd be like, thank you. Like what do I need to improve on? It's like, you know what, like you really gotta like your you're fat, or you're, even though obviously I'm not fat, but like they could say like whatever physical thing that they didn't like about me, and I would consider that like a learning experience. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, like maybe that's something I can improve on, or at least like maybe I know that's like one of my like weaknesses. It's like that to me is like good, be honest, be blunt from the get-go, because nobody wants to fucking waste time. So the idea of pretending to be a Polish guy when you're obviously an African guy, or whatever race you are, it doesn't matter. You're not that person that you're portraying to be. I just don't understand the fucking point. I just think it's a waste of time.
It is. It totally is. Can I just say, we'll go back to waste of time for a second here. One of the things that really I loved about you was when we were
Please.
talking, we were we were talking on Hinge, and very quickly we jumped on a video chat like
Yeah.
that. I think it was that same conversation. We jumped on a video chat, and then did we meet that same day or the next day? I can't even remember. It was very
I think it was the next day.
well, whatever. It happened very
It happened
quickly.
very quickly, and I
like
think
that.
and I think that's the best way to. So like I think that's the best advice. Like we can give right to people. Just go on that date, or like do the video chat first,
Mm-hmm.
and then go on the date immediately, because the texting back and forth, it's a lot of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when we went to the first date, like like, so let's talk about our first date, okay?
Okay.
So this was actually kind of funny, like like I took the train down. You picked me up. Like I was commuting from the city because I'm sorting some stuff out with my ex. You picked me up, and we went to Jack Astor's, and we got that ridiculous
The fish
bowl, the
bowls.
fish bowls, which is like it's a big ass bowl of liquid, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you actually drank faster than I did, because like I was just so enamored, but we had such a great conversation.
We did.
Like, and I think that kind of shows in like our banter, like
Mhm.
we have definitely like that chemistry, that intellectual chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like we were supposed to go mini golfing, and we did, but I honestly completely forgot about that because we were enamored, and you were like, "Are you going to drink up?" And then I was like, "Yeah." And then so you
Oh.
you were wearing you took off your coat, and I got obviously I checked out your ass, and I was like, oh my god, this girl, I can't believe you're 43, like you were fucking hot.
Thank
I'm
you.
like, this is like obviously the attraction is there. And then I didn't even think we were gonna go mini putting, because we the night we were there for like a good like hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're like, do you still want to go mini putting? I'm like, yeah, man, of course. And so we do this mini putting thing, and like we're there doing the stupid glow in the dark mini putting, Scarborough putting edge, whatever it is. And yeah, there was like a little like you. What I liked about what you said is like you're like, I don't like kissing on the first date, or like it takes me a while to kind of like open up. I'm like, that's fine. So like you kind of like let me know your ground rules off the top, which I think is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, there was a little bit of ass grabbing, a little bit of like dry, like not I want to say dry humping, but like like I kind of like grabbed your neck a little bit, like put my junk against your butt, and like like it was like this like kind of like cute like
Playful
flirty.
flirting. Yeah.
It reminded me of the preteens. Like you
Mhm.
ever been to those preteen dances like back in the day where it's like Casey and JoJo, a little grinding, a little dry humping, a little hugging, a little slow dancing. It was kind of like that, which was honestly kind of hot, but also like fun. Like the good old fashioned fun.
For sure.
And I think that's a good thing when it comes to the first dates. It's like, go back to your fucking youth. Go mini putting, go bowling, do the things that you think are maybe silly and that adults don't really do anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
live it all over again. Because like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like after that date I was like, I had a really fucking great time. Going back to like the confidence thing, it's like that I think is like a very big thing for me. And like that's what attracted me to you, is like you have a confidence about you that's like, you're hot. And that's exactly why I'm attracted to you. I think confidence is so sexy, especially in an older woman, because as you get older, you lose that.
I guess. I don't know. To be honest with you, I find that now that I'm older, I'm a lot more confident, and
I feel like you're confident like mentally, but like your body is like, like we're obviously like our best, like, you're gonna be your best looking when you're in your like 20s, right? Where you're like model esque. I mean, you're still very hot. Don't get me wrong. You were very sexy.
Thank you.
But I feel like, like I was probably like in my early 30s, like mid 30s, I feel like that's when I probably was the most attractive. And as you get older, like, it's harder to maintain your shape. But the thing that's given me confidence, obviously, yes, I'm confident in my career, in my life, I'm financially stable, like all those things bring confidence. But I'd say like the biggest thing for me is the gym. So like I work out all the time, and it not only makes me feel good, but it also like keeps my confidence at a higher level than where it should be, compared to like most of my friends who are like overweight, and not all of them, but like a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can understand that totally. I think, to be honest, like I'll go back to with what you're saying here. As a woman, I think the biggest thing that gave me confidence was dating, going through relationships, learning my self worth. I think that that's that's something that all women need to learn. All women need to learn. They need to get to the point that they need to love themselves and learn that they are worthy of love. Like, I can't stress that enough.
Can we pause on that for a second? 'Cause
Yes.
I so agree with you. And I think that's the thing with dating in your 40s. People don't think that they deserve love. They think they're too ugly. They think they're too fat. But I will say this, look, life is short. Everybody ages. Everybody dies. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, fuck what people think. You know what I mean? Like, everyone gets so obsessed with what people think about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like Johnny Depp, I think he said this. He's like, when you die, you know what's gonna happen? People around you are gonna be sad for a couple days, and then life moves the fuck on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, don't ever get too in your head about like you don't deserve something. That's bullshit. Everybody deserves to be happy, and whatever happy looks like to you, it will obviously be different than like happiness is obviously different for everybody. But I would say like don't sell yourself short. I'm not gonna lie, like going into dating at 40, like yeah, I was like, oh man, like do I deserve this? You know what I mean? I'm 40, I'm single, like that's not a good look. But then I realized like there's a lot of people that are 40s and later that are single. Like some people are in their 50s that are single, and like some of them are like very attractive. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hang on a second, like I'm not like, like I mean, not to say that like anybody's a loser who's single in their 40s, but I kind of felt that way because I didn't know what was available um, at this stage of my life in the dating world. But it's out there. Like people there's still great single people that are available if you're willing to put in the effort.
That's it. I think that's it. It's the effort thing is huge. But let's get back to some of the things that you should definitely talk about to find out, like if this person is compatible with you. I don't know about your experience, but talking to people, I've had guys be like, like, why can't you just go with the flow? And like, why do you have to, why do you have to ask these questions? Like, why can't we just see and
After
like
looking at
figure
your
it
ass,
out? And
yeah.
like, thanks. But that was one of the things. I think that was our first conversation. Like when we went out, we talked about the hard stuff pretty
Yeah.
early on. And I think that's the biggest thing is you need to know if you're compatible.
This is kind of like, look, like we've had a great snapshot into like what dating is like in their 40s. We've shared some examples. Like it's a zoo out there. But I feel like, we'll close it on this. If you're willing to put in the effort, there are some really good people out there, but you gotta put in the effort. And the tips I think that you'd mentioned is like video call
Mm-hmm.
first, right? Get that
Absolutely.
out of the way so
Video
you know.
call,
You know
110%.
if you're actually attracted to this person. Pictures are very misleading.
Yes.
And I would say to like anybody out there, not just guys, not just girls, like post recent photos of yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's like have the confidence to do that. And if someone doesn't like you, like move on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Somebody else will,
somebody else will.
right?
And that's the thing. It's like, like you somebody who you think would be easy because like maybe they're not as good looking will reject you. And then
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's like way hotter will be like, oh, I'm interested in this person. So there's like people I would say never get down about someone not being attracted to you because like everybody's attracted to different things.
Absolutely.
Everybody's different. All right, well, we'll end it there.
That was long.
That was fucking long.
That was really long.